welcome to today's On This Day in Tudor History video. I'm Claire Ridgway. I'm sure you know who I am, but just in case you don't, I'm the founder of the Anne Boleyn Files and Tudor Society websites, and also author of several history books, including ones about Anne Boleyn, George Boleyn, and this one that's actually inspired these videos today. I did lots of research into looking at what happened on all of the days in the calendar, but in the Tudor period. Today I'm going to take you to 1547 to see the 13th of January 1547, not long, of course, before the death of King Henry VIII. Now, on this day in Tudor history, the 13th of January 1547, Henry Howard, who was the Earl of Surrey, he was a poet and soldier, a very good poet, by the way. You can actually read his poetry online. He was also son of Thomas Howard, 3rd Duke of Norfolk, making him cousin of Queens Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard. He was tried for treason in front of a common inquest at Guildhall in London. Now, Surrey had been arrested on the 2nd of December 1546, so just over a month earlier, after his former friend, Richard Suttles, turned on him, betrayed him, and gave evidence against him. It was alleged, and this was what appeared in the indictment against him, accusing him of high treason. It was alleged that on the 7th of October 1546, at his home Kenninghall, he'd displayed the arms of his ancestor, King Edward the Confessor, in his own heraldry, in a shield that he'd had painted, something which only King Henry VIII was entitled to do. And it was said that he'd also placed the arms of England in the first quarter of his shield, suggesting that he had a direct claim to the crown. Now, Edmund Vast, who wrote a book on Henry Howard and George Boleyn in the 19th century, he points out that this last accusation was actually false. He says, and he wrote in French, so this is an English translation, Surrey had placed the royal arms in the second quarter and had been careful to differentiate them by collaring the leopards, so adding collars to the leopards that were in the heraldry. Unfortunately, this didn't really make any difference. What Surrey had done wasn't treason, really. It had been twisted to be treason. Suttles Information was enough for Surrey's enemies to use this, to twist it, and use it against him and bring the Howards down. Because Henry VIII by this time was close to death. He was very ill and he was very paranoid, especially about the succession. So Suttles Information was used by the Howard enemies to sort of convince the king that Surrey and his father Norfolk, who'd also been arrested, had designs on the regency. They'd got designs on the throne. They were going to control Edward VI because they felt that they had claims to the throne. Now, at his trial, Surrey pleaded not guilty to the charge of high treason, and chronicler and Windsor Herald Charles Risley records that Surrey had such pleading for himself that he kept the commissioners from 9 of the clock in the forenoon till 5 of the clock at night, or he had judgment. So there you have 8 hours of Surrey defending himself and probably putting up a very spirited defence. He had a way with words, did Surrey, but his efforts were in vain. I think it was all a foregone conclusion. He was found guilty and he was sentenced to be led through the city of London to the gallows at Tyburn, hanged, disemboweled, etc., as usual. Now, as he was a gentleman, Surrey's sentence unfortunately was commuted from being hanged, drawn and quartered to beheading, and he was executed by beheading on Tower Hill on the 19th of January 1547. So a sad end to someone whose family and who himself had served the king loyally, and to a man whose poetry is amazing. You can just do a search online to find his poetry. So there you go. On this day in history, 13th of January 1547, Henry Howard was tried and found guilty of high treason and sentenced to death. I'll be back tomorrow with another On This Day in Tudor History. Do subscribe with the button below to make sure that you get notified when that video goes live. Take care. Bye-bye.